Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is June 12th, 2022. Let's see. I do have a food corner update for you. I tried the Arby's Wagyu Steakhouse burger. That's right. I took a dive on the wild side. I did. I'm a garbage disposal. If you haven't figured that out yet from listening to this podcast, I just like to eat. I'll eat a lot. The only thing I really think that I just cannot stand, water chestnuts. I hate those things. I remember I got those in like a Chinese food order. Just couldn't figure them out. Tried them several times. Not one time did I ever like them. So those are off my list. But everything else I'm usually game for. Don't like slimy foods, things of that nature. Like, you're not gonna see me eating a gooey duck. If you haven't seen that, look that up. It's a sight, and that's not going in my mouth. You get to pay me for that for sure. But I enjoy the burger. It was good. Sauce was good. Tasted like a decent little burgie. It was like what, $11, something like that, with some fries, a drink. I enjoyed it. So I'm out food corner, so we can get into some news. I will say most of this episode is going to be about January 6th, the committee in general, a little bit of fallout from that, and just some characters maybe involved. I don't know if I've said this in other episodes, but I'm not too keen to talk about this shit. I feel like there's not going to be any real repercussions for, like, let's say Donald Trump out of this. This is really a live and learn moment that the committee is kind of setting up to really show, like, hey, this shouldn't happen again. Like, we're going to break this down into small little details, spoon feed this to you so you understand how messed up this was. So I get it. I understand it. It's at least gives us some, perspective and shows us, what it really looked like. It's a good breakdown. Also, there was a big update, and that's why I want to talk about it now, with the committee actually coming up and having this hearing, and they're going to go into further details. I don't really plan on going into the big details of it, but I did want to cover the highlights of what they're setting up to talk about. So from NPR, new revelations and 3 other takeaways from the first January 6th committee hearing. Let's see. They did have a really big production, which I was I wouldn't say surprised about, but it definitely lays out some stuff. It added some new camera footage and more discussions, at least from interviews and stuff, other officers who were on the scene, Ivanka Trump, but we can get into it. Let's see. They haven't bullet pointed. Number 1, new facts and information were revealed. So this is what I was kind of talking about. There was just more body camera footage, office footage, police radio communication. Let's see. General Bill Barr, in an on-camera disposition, told Trump his allegations of election fraud were bullshit, which I liked. I like that they edited it, but I like just hearing people just kind of really just be straight up like that. This is ridiculous. This is out of pocket as hell. Ivanka Trump, saying that she accepted what Barr had to say. I respect Attorney General Barr, she was shown saying, so I accepted what he was saying. So it's one of those things where this is going to just kind of elaborate that there are people in Trump's circle who knowingly knew this Stop the Steal thing was bullshit. There was no ground to it. There was no substance, but Trump was going out of his way to make it happen. And this was his last stand. And they are really going hard to really paint a picture, paint a narrative. Let's see. Number 2 bullet point. Also, too, before I move on to the next point, because this is going to lead into the next bump I have. Proud Boys and Oath Keepers on camera saying they went to the Capitol that day because they believed that that's what Trump wanted done. They felt he had asked them to do it. and that after Trump's stand back and stand by remark in a debate, membership in the Proud Boys tripled, which was not surprising to me. I remember that happening in the moment. I remember the next day hearing that article, and it was just like, dude, this is crazy. Like, hearing that article, I just realized that's funny. You can't actually hear articles though. You can press them. You can, then they got a little play button. They tell you. So I'm not wild, but I remember just how bold it felt. But obviously, Trump is a person who says over the top things all the time. So the fact that he was just baiting out, like, yeah, who do you want? Just like name a specific group, and I'll tell you if they're okay or not. And he says that stand back and stand by remark, just so wild, because you know exactly what the ramifications of that is, what's going to happen. And sure enough, these guys swelled, and then naturally are just literally verbatim just quote tweeting the tweet that he's saying on the day to like get people revved up, get people going. And just also, we'll get into that. Like I said, I'm kind of fusing a bit here, but I want to actually really focus on this. Number 2, the videos and production were effective. In other words, they're talking in regards of just, what they actually have assembled. It looks really good. It's like akin to like, the same level of like an NHL game in terms of like the HD of it. It is edited or like set up in a way that's really well, like it looks like a good documentary. Which honestly good, because I mean, I want to say even like a month after that shit was already readily available. There were people who are doing documentaries on the Proud Boys or Oath Keeper. I can't remember if it was one or both groups, but they came out with their own footage that they had because they were there on the day as well, and they were saying how crazy it was. I mean, there's just a lot here. Let's see. Number 3, the committee went after Trump, painting him as a rogue and dangerous president. I do like in this part of the article, they do talk about the whole hang Mike Pence thing. And then also his response to it, which was, maybe our supporters have the right idea. Mike Pence deserves it. So that was literally a call response situation between the crowd and Donald Trump. I hate Mike Pence. I think he's a piece of fucking shit. I think he cloaks his weird problems and inadequacies and anxieties in religion, and then he puts that out onto the world. I don't like this man. I will say, though, on that day, he did stand up for what he believed in terms of the Constitution and said, look, Mr. President, I know I'm your right hand. I know I'm the vice president, but I am attached to this Constitution, and we are supposed to uphold it. And you have not proven that this election was stolen. We have to now move on. So it's crazy that literally it came down to him. It came down to that. If he didn't make the decision, because they were harping on him too, which is also something I think they're going to go into this hearing thing, where there were multiple moves where they are trying to intimidate, show, elaborate to Mike Pence. You should be okay with this. You are the last line of defense. You have to stop this. And he's like, I'm going to uphold it because it's legal. I have to do this. It's crazy as hell that it came to that point, and literally Donald Trump at the height of his powers at the very end, he's like, yeah, why not? We should just do that. And that's on record. It's crazy as hell. Let's see, number 4. One of the biggest problems in this country continues to be people not operating from or believing in a shared set of facts. They go into the detail. They show a split screen, and at first it was confusing to me when I looked at a little clip or snippet. But essentially, they're showing what other news outlets were saying, and then what was going on at Fox News, which is obviously where a big, ooh, yeah, that burp's gonna be live. Sorry, I'm working it out. Okay, whew, that pregame. Sorry. But where was I? So the split screen. they're showing other news outlets like covering the footage. I remember being at work, walking into my break room and seeing like people scaling the walls. It's like looking like fucking Helm's Deep from Two Towers, man. I was like, what is happening? What is going on? But if you look at what's going on at Fox News, they're just having a normal chill day. They're just relaxing. They're just doing their normal beep bop boop bop. You know, Tucker Carlson's not talking about it. Like they go out of their way to not make a focus or a fuss about this, and that's very bizarre. That's very odd. Once again, at the same time, this is a news thing, so it's like I don't really see the legal point of this, but I understand that they are trying to form a narrative. They are trying to show you that, look, you can feel a way and be Republican about this, but this was wrong. This was not right. And everything that was set up, at least from terms of the Republican thing, was like, if you were on the ground, you were scared as hell that day. And that's why Liz Cheney is here. You know, like, obviously this isn't something that she wants to do, but she is standing her ground on this because she's like, I didn't like this guy in the first place. You know, I was really anti this whole fucking thing. And this is why it happened. And now there are people who are trying to sweep this under the rug. What is it? McCarthy, the minority whip or whatever. He's more or less trying to say, look, like, this isn't a big deal. Like, you guys are sweeping, you guys are making a mountain out of this. It's not that huge. That is a big narrative that is being pushed. Like, I saw some random sports ball coach guy. He was trying to make some point of like, why are you guys talking about this? This isn't a big deal. Like, when you look at those BLM protests, they're over here blowing up targets and blah, 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 blah. But once again, that's bullshit. Those aren't the same fucking things to begin with. It's one of those things where people want to make this into a small thing. And it's not a small thing. This is a seditious act that happened. People really wanted to throw up an insurrection. The fact that this was more or less like, and I'm glad there have been, you know, convictions. There has been justice, at least in some extent, a very small extent. But it's good that we're at least holding these people, quote unquote, accountable. At least we're holding it up and we're talking about it. I do think that's important. I think the fact that Fox News really wanted to try to small ball this is crazy as fuck, but I mean, it's not surprising. I would love for Fox News to do better. I was thinking about this the other day, but it's one of those things where this is what makes them money, is to do what they do. They're not going to stop doing that. And not to mention too, now they're not even the most right thing out there. There's Newsmax. They're rivals to what Fox News is. So naturally, they got to do what they can. They're in the trenches themselves. So, you know, what are they going to do? Anywho, we can move on to the next bump. The next bumpa. Got this from the AP News, and this is kind of what I was like referencing before. Proud Boys charged with seditious. Let me rewind that. Proud Boys charged with seditious conspiracy in Capitol riot. So this is a little bit of an update on the Enrique Tarrio situation. Former Proud Boys chairman. I don't know who the current is. I should look that up. Maybe I'll get back to you. But let's see. Him and 4 others linked to the group comes as the U.S. House Committee investigating the January 6th riot prepares to begin public hearings this week and lay out its findings. Now, Tarrio wasn't there that day. He actually was already being indicted for a previous thing, like a previous charge. Him and other Proud Boys took down a sign from a church. It was like a BLM sign. They took it down and they burned it. So they were already in hot water for that. He was already banned from being in DC already. A judge had already done that. Found that out from the Daily. Check it out. Love that podcast, even though Michael Barr was a little bit, No, I don't know. Let me not get into a tangent about what I don't like about Michael Barr. The Daily is good. Michael Barr was cool. Anywho, Tarrio. He's in hot water. Proud Boys are in hot water. They have been charged They're not just like, obviously not a ton of people, but at least a good chunk of people, at least higher ranking, especially those who are involved in the January 6th riot, have been charged. So that's kind of big news there in that regard. Tarrio being the top. I learned also this week that, let's see if I can find the name in the article. Let's see, yeah. Vice Media co-founder Gavin McInnes, who founded the Proud Boys in 2016. So I didn't know that until this week. I was kind of surprised. But then I kind of think back to like early Vice where it was like, yeah, real edgy. Like it's very hyper male, but like it was almost like Spike TV-esque thing or like a Jackass style thing, but it was news. And it was cool. Like I still fuck with Vice now, even though Vice is more of like a BuzzFeed, but like we do serious things and that's nice. But essentially this was a club that's supposed to be politically correct men's club for Western chauvinists. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think they've lost that energy. I don't think that's changed. I just feel like the Proud Boys are what, like when I hear the term football hooliganism, like that term is kind of like, it went over my head for a bit. I'm like, what does that mean? Like, what is that? Like, what does that mean in regards to politics and in regards to, you know, these political movements? What is that about? So I Googled it. Essentially, though, like these are the kind of people, whether they're left, right, whatever, usually I feel like it's right-wing kind of shit, where they come out and they're there to instigate. They're there to agitate. They're there to just be rowdy. And the Proud Boys have made that the brand. I think McInnes thought that he was going to make this a little snarky little club and that they were going to go out and be like anti-Antifa and they were going to like just make sure that, you know, Daddy Donald Trump was going to feel safe and protected at his rallies. But naturally, these things grow out of control. They spiral out. They usually get more racist, even though Tarrio, I will say, who, like, you know, becomes the new face, the replacement, is, I can't remember where he's from, but I want to say Cuban or something like that. But at the same time, even so, there's a strong Latin contingency in the Proud Boys. Like, they still make the same kind of moves, the same kind of, you know, actions. So I myself am happy to see, you know, the Proud Boys, also the Oath Keepers who are mentioned in this article, you know, see some actual judgment. You know, we'll see, you know, what the actual, you know, fallout of this is, because obviously this is just a charge, you know, see what actually comes of it. I should get into the details, but I feel like I'm getting in the weeds here, so we are just going to keep it moving. I encourage you guys to always look this kind of stuff up. Let's see. Ooh, I hope my thing loads. Okay, there we go. Hey, man, I got to deal with technical difficulties left and right. Let's see. The next part I wanted to get into, and this is the last part of the January 6th stuff. This is another big one where I'm not going to like really cover all of it. Got it from the Detroit News. The Detroit News. Let me say that, not mumble rap it. Michigan GOP gubernatorial candidate Ryan Kelly arrested on January 6 related charges. So Kelly, who is 40 years old, became one of the highest profile individuals nationally to face charges so far in federal authorities' ongoing investigation. So I do believe that this man is a little bit unhinged. This article kind of goes on to, you know, what this man is about. He was definitely there on the day. I will say the article goes as far as he gets to like the top of the stairs of some sort, and they don't really go into details on whether or not he went in. I haven't really done personal research on it, but you can definitely see that he is there. Actually, the picture I used from the bump is like him like egging people on, like he's got his hat back. They say also they were able to use footage because he like has like this like kind of outfit. Like he's always on the scene. He's always talking. He's been really active, you know, I guess since the pandemic talking. So they were really able to track him all the way up to this point. And they're like, yeah, dude, this is definitely you. There's without a shadow of a doubt. And we see you here. We see you there. We see you working your way up. We see you egging people on to go into the Capitol and do this shit. So it's fucking crazy. You also see that there are some supporters, some Kelly Sands, who are there to the bitter end. They're like, the way they describe how he was arrested was like it was a raid. Like, they kicked down his door, even though they came to him. I think he was like either leaving or they knock on his door and they like, you know, escort him out. They make it into a really big, crazy scene. Like, the Gestapo came and they took him away. I don't think it's that serious. I mean, these are over, I guess, misdemeanor charges, I believe. So we'll see how that goes. I will definitely keep you posted there. Let's see. I do have some, I guess, breaking news. This is, you know, not January 6th related. We've made it. If you've stuck around this long, thank you. Actually, we're going to use this time for a little breaky, a little achy breaky, if you will. Oh, yeah. And we're back. Okay. Got this from Politico. I will say, I was trying to use the Daily Beast, and the Daily Beast paywalled me. They paywalled me. They're like, are you a subscriber? And I'm like, bro, like, no, I'm in the middle of trying to set up for my podcast. Fuck. But, let's see. 31 Patriot Front members arrested near Idaho Pride event. So this is some crazy shit. Essentially, there were 31 members of this white supremacist group called Patriot Front. And they were all crammed in their little fucking khakis and navy blue shirts and their tactical gear and their fucking masks. They were fucking packed in the gills of a fucking U-Haul. And they were ready to deploy onto this Pride event. I guess with the intention of just completely disrupting it, causing chaos. There was another group there as well. I think there was some kind of biker group. This is not mentioned in this article, but it was from the Daily Beast article. Fuck you, Daily Beast. I will see you again. But I love you because I need the fucking news and I don't really care. Whatever. Fuck it. But it was a big fucking crazy scene. A citizen was a person who called it in and, you know, said, hey, like, these guys are, you know, they're packed into this U-Haul and they look a little army. So they were ready and prepared. Also, I believe that a police chief or something like that had came out and said, hey, there was also, like, they'd infiltrated the group's chats or something like that. But it was really enforced that this was a citizen's tip that really set this off. So I'm glad that these guys were apprehended. It's also said from the Daily Beast article that there was a wedding that happened and took place. So I'm glad that this shit wasn't, rained on. I'm glad that these guys weren't fucking successful. I'm glad that the cops fucking did something. So there, I'm giving you guys flowers. There you go. I don't care if you don't like the tone. Glad you guys actually did your fucking job. Didn't take you like 76 minutes. So that's fucking great. I'm stoked. Good news, but here's some bad. Well, I'm not going to say bad news. I'm glad that justice is actually moving, but we can kind of get into it as we, finish the article, finish this out. Got this from the NPR. A Michigan police officer is charged with murder in Patrick Lyoya shooting. So this is an update from the Lyoya shooting we covered previously. I don't know if I mentioned the officer's name in the previous episode, but it was Christopher Scher. He shot an unarmed Lyoya in the back of the head following a struggle during a traffic stop. Now, Lyoya had his taser in a moment as they were tussling. You can hear in the body cam footage, even though it was turned off on accident, allegedly, whatever, quotations, but you can hear in another, body camera footage thing where Sir says, "Let go," and it's of the taser, and then he fires the shot into Leroy's head. So he's going to be charged for that. We'll see how this goes. My speculation is, I can't remember if what is Amanda Potter. That was the other case. I think at best it's going to be something like that. I don't know if he's going to get any kind of time or if it's going to be serious. It's one of those things where it's shitty and it's fucked up and like it shouldn't have happened. It should not have fucking happened. I cannot stress that enough. Like, after seeing it, from what I've looked at, from hearing other people's opinion, I don't believe this should have happened. I think it was very much an avoidable thing. Yeah. So what? Worst case, this guy gets away. Oh, you can find him. You can find him. You have the fucking technology. You didn't have to, like, make a thing happen right now. Pull out your gun right the fuck now. Oh, you're afraid? You threw yourself in a situation. You didn't have to fucking do this. But whatever. We'll keep you posted on that. I don't know, like I said, how it's going to go, but, we'll see. But that's me kind of squinching my crystal ball. So that's it. We made it to the end. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. If you like what you heard, if you want to help out, I'd love that. I'd appreciate that. Let's see. IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. That's the way to reach me for free, though. Oh, also with the Patreon, you get a Discord access thingy, linky, whatever. And then you also get a shout out. So we can talk about a news thing if you'd like. We can just talk about you. We can play you, whatever you like. That pretty much wraps it up. Thank you for sticking around. I hope I see you soon for some more good news. Love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.